Goodness with care from our villages. Arokya Milk.
Welcome to episode 8 of Mahabharata with Anuja. Thanks for joining me for yet another helping of these priceless stories. Now, the last time I met you, we saw the Pandavas and they were in hiding at Ekachakra. They were disguised as poor Brahmins and they were begging for alms. Now, the citizens were actually worshipping Bhima, who had saved them from Bakasura, if you remember. And the Pandavas were quite enthusiastic about it and they were all patting Bhima on the back. But Yudhishthira alone was a little nervous. He said everyone knows that only Bhima has the strength required to kill a Rakshasa like this. Maybe we'll be found out, so we need to move from here, it's not safe. While they were discussing where to go next, a traveller happened to come that side and he had some amazing stories to tell about Drupada's son and daughter. He said they are the fire-born twins and they are the pride of the Panchalas, and that girl, she's so beautiful. I've seen her, I've heard tell of her beauty, and there's no one in the three worlds to match her, and for sure good looks. And then he said King Drupada is arranging a Swayamvara for her, and the thing is, he's always wanted Arjuna as his son-in-law, but that horrible Dhritarashtra and his evil sons, they had the Pandavas murdered at Varnavata, and then he lowered his voice. He said, there's a rumor that the Pandavas escaped, and Drupada feels that he can somehow make Arjuna come out of hiding. So there's an archery competition and only Arjuna is capable of succeeding at it. And Arjuna's ears perked up when he heard it, and all the other brothers also were very enthusiastic. So that night all their thoughts were just consumed by Draupadi. And Kunti, noting this, in the morning she said, let's move, let's go to Panchala and we'll see what happens there. And the brothers were very excited and eager to leave. And they decided to travel by night because it would be cooler and also it was a good way for them to remain in hiding. So as per their plan, they set out at night and there was a very dense forest they had to make their way through. And as always, Arjuna and Bhima were leading. Now they stumbled on a private party. King Angaraparna of the Gandharvas and his wives were sporting in the river and they did not like being interrupted like this, and Angaraparna spoke very harshly. He said the night belongs to the Yakshas, Gandharvas and Rakshasas. Humans have no business being here, so get lost. And Arjuna was very irritated because Kunti was an elderly woman and a noble woman, and he felt it was not nice for the king to talk like this. So he said, night, day and all, it belongs to everybody and all. You don't have any right to speak to us like this. Apologize or I will make you. And seeing that this mortal was so arrogant, Angaraparna immediately accepted the challenge. And Yudhishthira said, Arjuna, don't waste too much time. We need to travel to Panchala, remember. So Arjuna made short work of the Gandharva king. He used the Agniya missile and defeated the Gandharva king, and he had him at his mercy. Now Angaraparna's wife, her name was Kumbinasi, she went and she fell at Arjuna's feet. She said, please spare the life of my husband. And Arjuna was always very, very fair in battle. Even if it's a fallen foe, he was known for his compassion. So he immediately backed off. He said, don't worry, your husband has nothing to fear from me. And Angaraparna was very impressed. He said it's very rare to find strength, talent and compassion in the same man. So you're blessed among mortals and I wish to give you something very special. He said, I will impart to you the secret knowledge of Chakshushi. This means he'll have divine vision and he'll be able to see anything at all he wants in the three worlds. So it would elevate him to the rank of a celestial. And Arjuna said, this is very kind of you, but your gratitude is more than enough. I feel I don't deserve such an amazing gift. But Angaraparna was very firm. He said, if you won't take this, you give me the Agniya missile, you teach it to me, and I will give you and your brothers 100 Gandharva steeds. Now these horses were very special. They could change their color and they could travel at the speed of thought, and they could go long distance without being fed or watered. So Arjuna thanked him again, gave him the missile, and he said, we will come and get these horses when we need it. And the brothers carried on. They went to Panchala and it was like super crowded and they had difficulty finding a place to stay. Finally, a potter gave them shelter and the Pandavas were hiding there and they were waiting very eagerly for the day of the tournament. And on that special day, everybody went there, all the kings and princes, anybody at all, they were just so keen to try and win the hand of Draupadi, the most beautiful woman in the three worlds. The Pandavas went in very inconspicuously. They were still in disguise, dressed as poor Brahmins, so they just sat with them. And all the kings, the Kshatriyas were gathered, and Drishtadyumna and Draupadi walked in. They were holding hands, and brother and sister were looking absolutely amazing. And all the men there, they just stopped breathing when they saw Draupadi, and every single one of them would have willingly died for her at that moment because she looked so amazing. And Drishtadyumna stepped forward and he said, my sister, she will marry the man who can achieve a task, and he has to be of noble birth, and my sister also has to agree to marry him. Those are the rules of a Swayamvara. And then he proceeded to talk about the contest. He said, the rules are very simple, gentlemen. There's a mighty bow. You will have to lift it up and string it. And you can see that golden fish up there, and he pointed. There was a golden fish with eyes made of jewels. And there was a revolving mechanism beneath it. And the archer had to look at a pool of water, see the reflection of the fish, and shoot 5 arrows that would hit the eye of the fish. So all the men looked and they thought, okay, this is impossible. But they looked at Draupadi again and they all decided to do their best. And one by one, all the mighty kings of the age, they went, and none of them could even lift up the bow, not even an inch. So they all went back very embarrassed and all. It was Karna's turn, and he stepped forward. He had his usual swagger, confidence. He picked up the bow with effortless ease and he strung it. And he was just going to fit an arrow into it when Draupadi spoke in a very soft but very clear voice. She said, I will not marry a charioteer's son. And Karna was deeply insulted. He glanced at the son and he just tossed down the bow. Now she'd insulted him, and Karna was deeply hurt, and he'd make her pay for it in the future. But let's talk about this present episode. And all the Kshatriyas had failed by then. No one came even close after Karna. And all the kings started grumbling. They said, Drupada doesn't want his daughter to get married. Nobody can do this. She's going to, live like this forever. Nobody will marry her. And they started complaining. And then Arjuna stepped forward. He said, can I try? Drishtadyumna said, I told you the rules. If you're of noble birth, if you can pull this off, and if my sister accepts, you win her hand. So Arjuna strode forward, picked up the bow, strung it, faster than you can blink. He had released 5 arrows and they'd all hit the target. And Draupadi, from the moment she set eyes on Arjuna, her heart belonged entirely to him. So she carried she had this garland in her hand and she was blushing, and she went up to him and she garlanded him and she just went and stood quietly behind him. And immediately there was a lot of muttering. Krishna was also present in this gathering, and he told Balarama, see, I told you those are the Pandavas. Nobody but Arjuna could have done this. But the others were clueless about the identity of this mysterious hero. So they all started grumbling. They said, this is a Kshatriya's game. Why should some, addressless Brahmin show up and win the princess of Panchala? They said, we'll kill him and we'll throw Draupadi into the flames. Yudhishthira, sensing trouble, he left with the twins, but Bhima stayed behind and he uprooted a tree, which was a signature Bhima move, and he stood next to his brother, brandishing it like a mace. And he started fighting with all the other warriors who converged on the brothers, and Karna advanced towards Arjuna. And soon they were locked in combat, and Karna said, who the hell are you? Only Arjuna can hold his own in battle against me. And Arjuna smiled. He said, I am Arjuna's equal, but I am far superior to a braggart like you. And Karna got very angry, and the clash became very intense. And Bhima said, remember what Yudhishthira said, we shouldn't get caught here. So Arjuna used a missile to dull all their senses, and in that confusion he left with Draupadi holding his hand and Bhima following. Krishna also followed these two with Balarama, and Drishtadyumna followed this lot. And they caught up with Yudhishthira and the twins, and they all went to the potter's house where Kunti was there. they stood outside and they said, Ma, see what we brought home. And Kunti, I think she had some sort of brain freeze moment. She knew her sons had gone to the Swayamvara, and she says very absent-mindedly, she said, whatever you have bought, share it among yourselves. Now, normally if it happens today, we'll all say, yeah, Ma is blabbering, and we would have dropped it. But Yudhishthira would always obey his mother's words, and his brothers followed his example. So they were all having a big discussion about it. And finally it was, initially Yudhishthira did say, Arjuna, you won her, so you marry her. But Arjuna said, no, we have to listen to what mother said. Nobody asked Draupadi's opinion. And finally it was decided that the 5 brothers would marry her. And Krishna came in and he spoke to them, and he said, don't worry, soon there'll be good times for you, everything will go on well. And they left quickly because they didn't want to reveal the identity of the Pandavas. Drishtadyumna was watching all this. He went back to his father and he said, it's almost confirmed, they are the Pandavas. There was one old woman also out there, I'm sure it's Kunti. And then Drupada said, all my wishes have come true, Arjuna is going to be my son-in-law. And Drishtadyumna said, I'm not too sure about all your wishes coming true. And he just left quietly. His father said, start making preparations for the wedding. The next day, the 5 brothers went there with Draupadi, and Drupada said, okay, let me have the honor of arranging this wedding between Arjuna and Draupadi. Yudhishthira said, I intend to marry her. And Drupada was a little confused, and he became very angry when Yudhishthira continued and said, all of us will be marrying her. He said, why are you saying such shameless things? How can one woman marry 5 men? People will all say my daughter has no virtue. This is not fair. I will not allow this. And at that point, Vedavyasa as well as Krishna came. Krishna spoke to Drupada. He said polyandrous unions were very common in the past, and it's not without precedent. Nowadays it's rare, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. And don't worry, nobody will insult a virtuous woman like Draupadi. And Vedavyasa also added to it. He said, let me tell you about Draupadi's past. In a former life, she could not get a husband, so she performed penances to Lord Shiva. And when he appeared before her, she got very enthusiastic and she said, I would like a husband 5 times just to make sure Lord Shiva understands. And Shiva smiled and said, you will have 5 mighty virtuous husbands, and Shiva's words cannot be false. So Drupada said, okay, if this is the result of Shiva's boon, then no sin will attach to my daughter. So okay, I will agree, let's do this. And a grand wedding was held, and all the 5 brothers walked around the flames with Draupadi one at a time. And Drupada gave them very, very rich presents, and there was a lot of celebration and feasting. And the Pandavas had won themselves a very, very powerful ally, because Drupada was a mighty warrior. The Panchalas were famous for their strength, and Drishtadyumna, again, he was a divine, fireborn prince who was destined to kill Drona. Now the news was carried back to Hastinapura, and Dhritarashtra was told, you're very fortunate, the jewel of the Panchalas, Draupadi, is your daughter-in-law. And he immediately thought Karna had won Draupadi for Duryodhana. So he was very, very happy. He said, we are truly blessed. And then Vidura said, don't get too enthusiastic. Arjuna has won her hand, but all the Pandavas have married her. And Dhritarashtra concealed his disappointment, and he said, okay, I'm happy for my brother's sons. And at that point, Vidura counseled him. He said, see, now it's a good opportunity for you. Send lots of presents for them. They're married now, and welcome them back into the family. And Bhishma also spoke up. He said, Dhritarashtra, you have a very bad name right now. Everybody is accusing you of murdering your brother's sons. They know you didn't do it directly, but they feel you encouraged Duryodhana and supported his plan to kill the Pandavas. It's a good opportunity for you to redeem yourself. Because of this clash, let's not keep the boys together. Give 1/2 of the kingdom to Pandu's sons. And when Bhishma offered this compromise, Dhritarashtra accepted, and he sent Vidura to bring the princes back. So the Pandavas were very happy to see Vidura, and he led them back to Hastinapura, and the citizens were overjoyed. And then Dhritarashtra blessed them. He said, I'll give you 1/2 of the kingdom, live in peace and prosperity with my sons. Everyone thought Dhritarashtra had been very generous, but when the Pandavas went to Kandava Prastha, which was their portion of the kingdom, they saw this barren, desolate land where nothing was growing. But they felt it was better than Varnavata, and they started building there to create a beautiful kingdom. And Krishna personally requested Indra to send Vishwakarma, who was their architect. And this great architect came and he built a fine capital city for them, and it was so beautiful, and the Pandavas wanted to thank Indra, so they named it Indraprastha. Now lots of talented, skilled people, they all flocked to Indraprastha because they knew that Yudhishthira would be an amazing king, and they came there with their families, and soon it was a bustling, prosperous kingdom, and the brothers and Draupadi settled in there and they were very happy. Now shortly after that, sage Narada paid them a visit. Everyone knows, right? He's a mischief monger, a devotee of Vishnu, and he used to travel the three worlds. So he came to Indraprastha. He said, it's very nice that the five of you have won this beautiful bride, but you boys should be careful. And they asked, what do you mean? He said, right now you all are very close, but a lot of time brothers fight, over women. So let me tell you a story. And he told a very fascinating story about two Asura brothers named Sunda and Upasunda. Now these two brothers were very close, they loved each other very much, and they performed penances together, and they won a boon. They'd asked for immortality, but Brahma had said, no, I can't give that, everything that's born must die, but both of you cannot be harmed by anyone. Only, Sunda can harm Upasunda and Upasunda can harm Sunda. So the brothers felt that's as good as immortality because they loved each other too much and they would never hurt each other. So the Devas got together, and they were worried about these brothers because they'd gone on an imperial conquest, and they started ruling over the three worlds, and they defeated the Devas. It was a reign of terror basically, and the Devas started plotting to get rid of them. And Indra gave some instructions to his architect Vishwakarma. So they say Vishwakarma, he went to the all parts of the three worlds, and he gathered tilas, which are atoms of all things bright and beautiful. And using these, he made a very, very, very beautiful Apsara, and her name is Tilotama. They say when she walked into the Sabha, all the gods just couldn't, take their eyes off her, and Brahma sprouted extra heads so that he could look at her from all directions, or something creepy like that. So this Tilotama was sent with the task of bringing about the ruin of these brothers. And so she sauntered past these two, and immediately they fell in love with her. And Sunda said, I'm going to marry her. I saw her first. And Upasunda said, no, she's mine. And suddenly they didn't even recognize each other. They were driven so mad with desire for her that they fought and killed each other. Now when the Pandavas heard this story, they were quite freaked out. Narada said, don't worry. You boys, you'll have a stronger bond, so nothing bad will happen, but just have an understanding about how you all are going to behave with regard to Draupadi. So the brothers got together and they drew up a sort of marriage timetable where Draupadi would spend some time every year with each of them. And it was decided that while she was with one brother, she should not be disturbed by the other brothers. And they all agreed, and if anyone interrupts, they would have to go into exile for 12 years and practice celibacy. So this arrangement worked for everybody, and Draupadi made it a point to make sure that the brothers did not get into any kind of disagreement because of her, and they were making this unconventional arrangement work. And then one day a very poor man approached Arjuna. He said, I've been robbed, all my few possessions have been taken away by these robbers, please win it back for me. My calves and my cattle are all I have, please get it back. Now Arjuna never turned down anyone who came to him for help. He was an amazing person and he couldn't say no, but he hesitated for a minute because his weapons were in the room where Yudhishthira and Draupadi were. But it was only for a moment. He knew his duty. He went into that room, he murmured a quick apology, he grabbed his weapons and he left, and he retrieved the cattle, gave it back to the Brahmin, and he came back and he told his brothers, I violated the terms of the agreement, I'm very, very sorry, but now I have to fulfill the terms, I will go on an exile for 12 years. And Yudhishthira said, no Arjuna, come on, you didn't do it on purpose. Besides, younger brothers can take some liberties with elders. And Arjuna said, come on Yudhishthira, you only taught me to adhere to dharma, so let me do my duty, I will go into exile. And I will end this episode right here. Hope you love this story. Do share your thoughts on it with me in the comment section. Don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe and do all the needful. Thank you very much. I will see you soon.
Goodness with care from our villages. Arokya Milk.